Potato. Oh, there it is. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele and Francis, with my amazing co-host, Tanya. How are you today, Tanya? On a regular Wednesday.
I'm okay.
Only okay. Boo. What do you think? Your overall impressions of the Men Tell All?
I think that this is maybe one of the worst episodes I have ever seen of this show. Period.
Oh, of this show. Because I was
Yeah.
going to say, how do you rank out of like the whole season of Michelle's season here on a scale of love to the worst thing you've ever seen ever? So 1 to worst thing ever. Would you rank this? You'd rank this like 10
Yeah.
thing
I
ever.
think this was pretty terrible for a variety of reasons. Like, it just felt very clunky to me, and the transitions were super awkward. And I just think if you're going to do this for 2 hours, it should have had the energy of the first 20 minutes of the special, as opposed to everything wild happening at the beginning. And then we're like sitting through these weird segments and obviously staged elements, which are always present, but like it just felt particularly bad this time.
So we do have some friends joining us here. So Tamika gives us a little wave. Hi, Tamika. And we have Dabu. Hello, everyone. Yes, hello. One thing that I noticed about this, and I decided to change the way I was looking at it when I just started doing a rewatch. And with some of the bits, it was reminding me a little bit of wrestling. So like, you know, like how it's so like over the top drama, especially the drama between Will and Peter. I felt like they were literally like WWF or E or whatever it's called, wrestlers. And this is their like bit. We hate each other. I'm the pizza man. I'm the good guy. Like it felt so phony that I was like, well, if I just look at this as a soap opera and like not think of them as real people, it's a little bit more enjoyable. Listen.
Yeah. No, I understand that comparison is fair. I think it's equally as staged. But I think it felt to me tonally like a Jerry Springer episode. And I get that that's a thing. I just think what I was left feeling, and this is just a question that I have, is like, what do I seek from this show anymore? You know, like, what do I want it to be? Because whatever it is now, I don't want it to be. But I also like don't think it was perfect before either. So I'm just like really trying to reconcile like what I even require from this show right now, because I don't know. I actually have no idea.
Question, and I think that the Bachelor producers are trying to figure it out. They are scrambling because they think that we want drama, which we do to a certain extent, but no matter what we enjoy about drama is when it's organic. Right? Like that's what we like. Well, me personally, I think you would agree as well. Like when organic drama happens, like, oh my goodness, these people are really like having a moment here and it's kind of captivating and riveting. And so when it's fake, it's just like it's not interesting. I don't need to see grown men fighting at a reunion show when it's not even about the girl. Like it's just it's so far off for what I care about with this show. And if I look back to when I first started watching, you know, it was in the beginning of reality TV. So like the allure of like, wow, we're getting to see real people, like that was pretty new and exciting at that time. And love is always going to be something that you can make money off of because people are always looking for love and relationships. And it's really fascinating to see people on that journey because everybody's been on that journey to some extent in their life, so they can relate to pretty much any situation. And so that's why I kind of started watching it, is like, ooh, like I like seeing a love journey on screen. And this is so wild to get to see. And now it's become something completely different, morphed into some weird formulaic thing that I don't even know if they know what they're trying to portray here. Like, what do they want us to take away from the Men Tell All Clayton season? Like, what do they want us to take away? What do you think?
I don't know. I think Clayton's preview is evidence that production's even wackier than ever in terms of what we saw from that segment, where it's just like, this is what we're doing? Okay, sure. I think your point about when it began versus now is very true. Like, as an audience, have we outgrown the show or the show concept for what it was? There was an allure or a mystique, and I was younger, so probably also more impressionable in that way, and not as cynical and weathered as I am by the world and as weary as I am now. But like, I do think that we've evolved. And then part of what I enjoyed about like this later phase of reality is the breaking of the fourth wall, but they've already caught on to that, and that is scripted and staged at this point. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, they maybe even just spoiled Clayton's final two. Like, I
Like,
don't even
did
know
they? Like,
what
or like, oh, well, let's get into that. Hold on. Tamika has a comment here. In my wildest dreams, I didn't think this is what we were
no.
getting.
Me neither.
Devu says clowns tell all. Clowns tell all, absolutely. And it was just like,
Clownish
usually
behavior.
that was an opportunity to maybe see some people that would be great for Bachelor in Paradise. And yeah, we could probably see who's going to be on that beach or whatnot. But I think that they've completely missed the mark with what they're giving us and what they think that we want. Like, both of them. Like, I don't think they know what they want really to give us, and they don't know what we want at all. And they're just really throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like, what sticks? What sticks? What sticks? And I think they realize that Clayton isn't going to save the franchise because
No.
they immediately pulled out from having a second Bachelor season. Why do you think they did that?
I don't know. I think maybe the response was so negative to that being a thing that they decided they were going to change their mind. Maybe it makes more sense to just return to the original form of their filming schedule, because if they
It
keep
does.
messing with it, it does like kind of throw it off kilter in that way. So, I mean, I'm glad, because if it's a lack of a Michael A season or whatever nonsense direction they were going with that, we're better off not engaging. But it is interesting that they so quickly fell back from that. I think that just goes to show you like how wishy-washy any decision they make is until you see that official poster or that teaser. They're known to be even switching leads up to the last minute. So
Mhm.
I think they've given too much power to their audience, and also at the same time zero power, because then they keep like pulling back on things or changing things up. So I don't know what they're doing. It's very clear to me that whoever's producing it right now maybe doesn't have a good skill set, because it just doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, especially this tell all felt so poorly structured, poorly run, awkward,
It was
just
bad.
weird, just
I have
super
another. I don't know if I'm being cynical here, but like, why did they move it to Monday night to compete against football when they know that the ratings haven't been great? And I think it's because it's been on a Tuesday. So then they move it on to a Monday, which, like, I was like, oh, this is a better time, better day. And then you're like, oh no, it's on at 9. I'm like, oh, 9. Oh, ugh, that's annoying. So I set it to tape. And I go to watch it, and it's all football. The whole, like, it started in the beginning, and then it went to football. So then I couldn't watch it whatever night on Monday. I had to wait until it came on demand and then watch it. And I was like, something that seems a little sketch to me, a little bit.
It seems like they don't care about the season, like,
Mm.
clearly. Like, they don't care about promoting it in the same way, which is stupid because it's part of their franchise, so they should. But it's clear that they did not put care into how they released this. And it's probably because they did these back-to-back seasons that are off of their schedule and not, like they're already not approaching it properly to begin with, and then they didn't really think of the scheduling of it airing.
It's
I
just
don't think
rude.
understand, and then for that to fall on Michelle's season 2, I mean, we got to be cynical about that, because it's pretty obvious when we see what their next season is, what they're trying to go back to, which is a stupid narrative anyways. So I don't know. I'm just like very perplexed by it all. And can you imagine if Rodney wasn't there on this special? Nothing to enjoy. Like, he was like the only person that I was like, thank God,
I
Rodney.
really like him a lot. Like, before I thought he was a little bit like too goofy for me, but I think I mentioned last week with his mom, there was a point when he looked really serious. I was like, ooh, Rodney got hot. And then even in this, the Men Tell All, there was a newer maturity around him that, like, maybe it was just comparison to the other, like, clowns, as we're calling them, that were in his, he was sitting with. But, like, I was like, Rodney, I think, could handle being the Bachelor. I think that he would be interesting, lovable. I think that I would love to see a true underdog, get this opportunity. Like somebody like Rodney, who would never in the past get that opportunity. I would love to see his love story, because
and he's charismatic. Like, he has like a personality that pops on screen, because it feels like it's coming from a genuine place. The way he handled a lot of the conversations in the Men Tell All, even towards people like Jamie, who are awful, are with compassion. And I just feel like he has a lot of wonderful qualities. So again, perplexed with with the choice. Like, traditional or non-traditional hotness aside, that shouldn't matter more than the person like actually even being capable of carrying a show. Like, how could Clayton possibly do that?
I don't know.
Actually.
I want to talk about that next, actually. Hi, you're up. Thank you for joining us. So thank you for the accolades. So you guys are the only Bachelorette recap that is honest about the current situation. Well, thank you. I mean, we can't hide our true feelings. And so we obviously try to be respectful, and we don't want to be too mean about anybody. But, like, I definitely love that we get to have an honest conversation here. And I think that that's what we enjoy about talking about this show, is that, like, we're not a Bachelor Nation podcast where it's very, very veneer, and, like, they don't want to, bite the hand that feeds them. And, like, they're very, very calculated in what they say. So we definitely want to have an honest recap. So thank you for enjoying.
Yeah, we try to be.
Hi, Patrice. So it was on CTV on Monday at 9. Yeah. So the problem is that I was like, oh, I'll just tape it. And I was taping it from a US channel. And then I was going to watch it back so I can just skip through the commercials. And so when I did that, it was too late for me to start watching it on CTV. So then I had to wait until it finished airing. And then I had to wait for it to join on demand. So I should have just taped it on CTV. I just didn't know that it would be competing against football. I just had no thought of that. It just seems silly to me. Tamika says, for real, he should be the Bachelor. It's so ridiculous. Yeah. The Men Tell All was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. Now, one thing that they say at the Men Tell All, they're like, the first exclusive sneak peek of what they say is going to be the most dramatic season ever. So, this wasn't the first exclusive sneak peek, because they did a sneak peek last week. Am I right?
Yeah.
I watched that, right?
Yeah.
And it looked bad, what they showed us. All I can gather from it was a girl crying on a set of stairs, seemingly a final three situation where Clayton says that he had to come clean. He slept with two of them, or he was intimate with two of them. Is that was there anything else that and I'm so broken.
So broken. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I flagged here. I'm in love with 3 women that he's told, all 3 that he loves. I was intimate with both of you. And then the fake ass cry, I'm so broken. I think that's all I need to see from the season.
I'm good. I'm good. I think I want to be spoiled. like that's how much I don't care.
And we may have been. I mean, at what point of the season could that conversation have possibly occurred if he was intimate with them? Like, it has to be people
Fantasy
that are
suites,
far, or was he just intimate with people earlier on?
But nobody that you're dating ever wants to hear that you're sleeping with somebody else, even if you're in an open relation, not open, but even if you're in like, we're not exclusive yet, we're still seeing other people, like maybe to know that you are being safe and you're using protection, maybe that kind of conversation. But like, nobody really wants to know that you're sleeping with another woman. Like I don't at all. And so the fact that he's like having a grand announcement, like, is he the Bachelor because the producers can get him to do this? Because this is like reputation suicide, I would say. I think it's very, not to slut shame, do whatever you want, I don't care, but like, I don't think it's a great look.
Well, it's just like, what? Like, fine. Like, this happened, like, look, this happened in Caitlin's season where she slept with Nick earlier, and then she was slut shamed for that, and that was really messed up. However, this does seem like, in what scenario did they get this to happen with him? Like, he must be so easily manipulated by production, for sure. I feel like that we were even guessing that that's probably why they chose him to begin with, because like, what's going on? Unless they really are trying to pull a fast one on us, which I doubt based on the women's reactions, that like his definition of intimacy is not what we think it is, and it's actually just like something else that's not as severe. But
with sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
So with going along with like, the producers are trying to make us feel a certain way about him. In the Men Tell All, they talked to, I think he talked to Rick, even Rodney, and there was somebody else that they talked to about Clayton. They're like, yeah, man, he just wants a family. He just wants to have kids and a family. He just wants to have kids and a family. And I'm like, okay, we get it. He wants to have kids and a family. He's a good guy. Okay, we get it. Like, they just honestly said the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, and then you have him sleeping with multiple women. I'm like, is it a polygamous family? Like, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But it's just very interesting to me that they're trying to put that he was such a family man, but then he's also kind of seemingly to be a man about town.
Not even that. It seems like the guys didn't have anything really to say. Like, it wasn't like, remember when, oh my gosh, it would have been when Becca Kufrin was the Bachelorette and they announced it. And then it was accompanied by like a bunch of the girls from her season, like there at the special being like, we love her, we can't wait to see this happen, like blah blah blah. But like, at least it seemed like that was actually like a little bit more legit, like they had real things to say about her as a person. These guys were just like, yeah, I think, he'll be good and he's ready. It's like, okay.
Nobody knows who he is. Okay, so Dabu says when they played the clip of Clayton being intimate with 2 women, found it weird that all the men were so quick to defend Clayton. It's so weird, Dabu.
This group of guys is not good, is what I learned, other than like a few choice people at this special. Like, this really highlighted how petty a lot of these guys are.
Hi, Sudani. So Sudani says they totally showed us the top 3.
Yeah.
Well, like, did they, or is this a complete misdirect? Because like, it just, why would they spoil the season in this way? Like, do they really have absolutely nothing else in the season other than this?
Maybe. I mean, they spoiled him in this season, so maybe they've just given up.
Have they lost the plot?
given up entirely. They're just like, whatever, no one believes anything we do anyways, so we might as well just like try and sell it with our best footage, just like the blockbuster movie.
It's it's bad.
It's bad.
I thought that the preview beforehand was a little bit better. I just showed like at least different clips and like Clayton and CN Tower or whatever. But this one was like, it had no real context, right? Because I don't care about Clayton, and then I don't know any of these women, and I don't care that he said I love you to multiple women. Like, I don't, I guess, like, okay, like none of it. I didn't feel like I want to watch it. And as you already said, like, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. They saved me a lot of time.
And I have to say that some of the other like Bachelor junkets are like, I'm so excited to see how we get here. I'm like,
okay,
are you really saying that, or do you just want to be able to still interview people from the Bachelor Nation? Because there's no way that you were enticed by this preview.
no, I mean, maybe more enticed in the sense that I was like, wow, I didn't see this coming, but it's not enough to sway me to decide to watch the season.
Not at all. So we'll probably get back to him at one point just because he's such an eye roll in my opinion. But let's get back to this men tell all. So Will had a couple of good lines here. There's a couple of t-shirt worthy moments, I would say. Will says, if that he doesn't pull back from calling him a narcissist. When Caitlin asked him, like, do you feel bad about that? Like, was that a joke? And he's like, no, I was serious. I was like, okay, you should have said it was a joke, but fine. He doubles down on the narcissism comment, but he says, like, Peter always talks about himself, and like, if he wanted to promote his pizza business, he should have gone on Shark Tank. And I was like, that's true. That's true. He was definitely not there for Michelle. Let's talk about the Peter and Will of it all.
I think they both came across like pretty badly in the segment. I didn't enjoy like the participation of everybody in this. It just felt like very like a pile on. And like, I get that Peter's like a goof, but after a certain point, it's like, what's really happening here? It's not a good look for anybody. I read a comment on Reddit that was like Peter's kind of like waboom, where he's like kind of silly and like full of himself, but like ultimately like just insecure. And I kind of feel that way about it. Like, not to defend him, because again, like he's definitely like annoying, but I just thought it wasn't a good look. The line about tell your sister to stay out of my DMs didn't need to be brought up. The reviews.
Okay, yeah. What did you think about the PowerPoint presentation of the reviews that were clearly written by that same intern that wrote the notes in that box on that date with Tayshia and Rick?
I did go on to Google reviews of Peter's Pizza Place just because I wanted to see, and those reviews are there, but I will say the overwhelming majority of the reviews are pretty positive and complimentary to him. I think them reading these and then like also talking about this, and like if there was any involvement in Will in like getting people to like write these, say what you will about Peter, but like at the end of the day, I'm sure other people are employed in this business. And if this actually did have a real impact on somebody's small business, that's kind of shitty, So I didn't think that this was all just at Peter's expense. And like, it was an easy target, but like, I just feel like they went so hard on him. And then like so many worse offenders, in my opinion, like Jamie and Martin, got off way easier, it seemed, which just didn't make sense.
I think it's hard for people to recognize with Jamie and Martin, like what was they're doing wrong. I think that the only person that really had a good handle on it, I would say, would be Romeo, because he was just like calling them out pretty much all the time. But I think it's just easy to pile on a guy like Peter because he's so out there and he kind of asks for it in a certain way. Like, he doesn't back down, and he's very yappy and he's very annoying. And so it's just like low hanging fruit. People are taking swings at him and it's super easy. But I definitely agree with you. Like, it's not really fair that seemingly the hosts were encouraging all the men there to gang up on Peter and tell him how horrible he is.
Yeah.
So I agree that it wasn't handled well at all. I am curious though if there's going to be some T-shirts being made like with this moment.
Oh my
So Danny
God.
says when Will getting served with papers was one of the worst part of my goodness. Yes,
Oh,
it was the worst. Did you have a picture?
this actor, and you saw the flair. This person like was like, oh my God, this is my gig. Like it's pandemic times. I'm just happy to get paid. So then he served him the paper and then did one of these, dropped it down like with flair, and I was like, get out of here, get out of here. This is absurd. And in which Peter responded, this shows one thing, bro, rest in pizza.
That's the other shirt moment that I was talking about. I think rest in pizza is pretty good.
Yeah, I guess he's just trying to throw a lot of lines out there, like
Yes.
boom, and hope that something will stick. So he's bound to get somewhere.
I mean, if he started like merch for his pizza place that said "Rest in Pizza," like I think that it would be a hit, you know. So I bet you will see merch coming out and merch with being served and all that stuff. Absolutely, yeah. It's at being served at Peter's Pizza Place. Like hundo, it's coming. Hundo. So when Tayshia and Caitlin lost control, that was where I was like, I hate what I'm watching right now. Because like it was pretty close to the beginning of it. Like everybody was just talking, yelling at Peter, yelling like all over the place. To there being like they actually were yelling at them like to be quiet and to listen. And I'm like, how did you guys lose control of these like guys in this men tell all? That was a low point for me.
For sure, that was very uncomfortable. That was peak Jerry of it. Actually. That happens later on is peak Jerry, but we'll get to that moment as well.
There was a peak Jerry moment, in my opinion. Oh, did my okay? Sorry. There definitely was a peak. I wonder if it's the same. I wrote down Maury Povich, but it could equally be Jerry Springer.
The same point for sure.
I wonder if it's the same point that we're thinking of. So, okay, another person that drove me crazy is that they give Ryan a moment. He didn't get a hot seat, but they give him a moment to explain to himself about the papers that they found in his room. He's had months to concoct a believable story or just like to be able to speak something articulately. And he just was fumbling over his words and just made himself look even worse about why he brought these papers there. And, you know, I think it was Caitlin called him out being like, hey, the women that you said that like you were interested in don't look like Michelle at all. And then he was like, oh, you know, the qualities that she carries is what I'm looking for in a teacher. And like, it was just so bad. So what do you think about Ryan?
I think that he is just full of it. Is just a ridiculous person. My favorite line, by the way, of my notes over here, I typed them today. So if I keep looking to the side.
I mean, do what you got to do. I've been looking down because my notes are on a piece of paper right here.
There's just so many quotes that I had to capture. My favorite part, I think it was Tayshia that asked him this. It was just like, why do other people think that you're not capable of having genuine interest? And I was like, that's it. Like, why do you need this? You just can't be a human being? Okay.
Like, you need to be reminded of, like, you know what, be engaged in what she does for a living. Like, just, like, really, you know, think about the other person when you have a conversation with them. Like, these are pretty normal conversation skills that one should have, I would hope, by the time they're 25, you know? Like you've been in enough conversations with people and jobs and different walks of life. I'd hope.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, his friends do not think very highly of him if they're going to be sending him with like this material.
No, definitely not.
Any other quotes there that you have for the Ryan portion?
No, he's just backtracking constantly. He said that he didn't read through the notes. And then that he never watched The Bachelor, yet he was on The Bachelor Live, which was brought up and we talked about before. So I
needed to know why he got on Bachelor Live. Like, why didn't he explain that part of it, you know?
Because he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
So that's enough about him. I was really into Romeo. I'm not feeling his frosted tips, to be honest. How do you feel about his hair choice?
Hair choice was a choice, but he also acknowledged it. So I feel like he'll make a change. But he's absolutely one of the maybe 3 to 4 people that I enjoyed in the episode, specifically for what he said to Martin here, which was
triple whammy of misogyny.
Triple whammy of misogyny, and that he was disappointed in that, and that it took him aback. I was like, thank you, and for listing it out for Martin as well, just in case he forgot. But it's not that he forgot; he just doesn't care. Honestly, like he just does not care at all, and is clearly very angry that he was even spoken to by Michelle. Like,
oh my gosh,
he has not learned, and I don't know. And did he have a girlfriend? What the hell? Like, I'm just
we're gonna get to him right now. So Tamika says, "Poor men were used to prop the man up, and ultimately, if they had to pick a white guy, I would have taken Rick, Casey, or Chris. You take Chris, really? Oh, Chris G. Who's Chris G again? Is that Canadian?
Yeah, the Canadian slam poetry guy,
right, from East Coast Canada. You know what? After this episode, I think I'd even take Rick right now. Casey for sure. Like, he had really great commentary. I like that he's willing, he speaks well, and he's willing to speak up. And I like that about Casey. Was Chris Gangster there? Chris G? Was he there? I didn't remember seeing him.
I don't think he was there. Interesting. I had the opposite reaction to Casey. I felt like he was doing too much.
Fine. I can see that as well.
Off by that, but
I just like him more than the majority of people. So, who are your top 4 then? You're saying
Rodney,
so, of course,
Olu,
yeah.
Romeo. I guess you could put Rick in that conversation-ish, but I'm still not really there with him. Yeah.
I'd put Casey would be at the next person after that, to be fair. I just thought he's at least funny and at least willing to stand up to these people and say something. I could totally see him being a little bit over the top about it, because like I think he got a little bit of a inflated ego about that being kind of his brand and what people were expecting him to do. So I do think that he was being a little bit self-referential, but like I think on a whole he was a good guy, you know? On a whole. So someone who knows a producer said Clayton is boring as hell and his season is a snooze fest. Could have told you that by watching The Bachelorette. Didn't need to give him a season for us to figure that one out.
I know. Glad that you put that into production without thinking about. Because he was so thrilling in the show. We thought we'd give him a whole season.
Right? Hi, Glenda. Hey, I'm late and didn't watch the Men Tell All yet. It's not great. Okay. This will probably be more interesting, to be fair. But if you want to watch it for context, obviously I support that, but it's not good. It's pretty shameful what they put on the screen for us. So when Will said Peter's sister was in his DMs, that took me out. I can't lie. I mean, it was a bit much. Like he was just like waiting to get that in. Now, do you think that people that are in the audience are actors, or like do they have a really good audience wrangler to get these reactions? Like,
I think they try and bring in like diehard Bachelor Nation fans. Yeah, the reaction. I love when they're oh my god, last season where they cut to someone who had like a single tear running down their face. Was the best for me. That was so funny. But I think there are diehard Bachelor Nation people, or also maybe some industry people that are like podcasters or like media people or whatever, to just like kind of bulk it up. And then the actors are very obviously the people who appear. like a streaker, for example. So
We'll get there. We'll get there. Timmy says, not excited for Clayton, but those women will be on Paradise, so we need to get to know them. I will watch the season, not at its regular time slot, so I'll watch it in a rerun or later on. I don't think we're gonna recap it. I might do little bits of rants maybe after the episode, just like go on like my stories and just rant about it. But like, I don't think that I'm going to dedicate real time to it because I wasn't interested in anything of his story now. I don't think I'm going to be interested in any story of his later, especially if we're hearing that it's boring. And if they're showing us the best bits or 10 weeks in, like that sucks. Yeah, but I will watch it because I do want to know who the girls are. So that's a good point.
I'll just get Chantele to tell me, and then also the intro package, I'm sure, will recap me on major.
That's true. That's true. You don't really need to know who people are if you know like who half of them are. So you're right. So the producer who wrote those reviews definitely had a hoot. That's a fun job, though. Hi, BB. Thanks for being here. So Peter got piled on, but definitely benefited from all the talk about his business. Yes, I think that in this case, that even negative publicity for Peter's pizza business, I think will still be good for him. Like, I don't think that anybody's going to be like, oh, it tastes like a pool.
No.
I don't think people are like, oh, I'm not going to that pizza place. Like, no, they're going to be like, oh my God, I want to go to the pizza place with that guy that was on The Bachelor. Let's see if the pizza's actually good. So
also, like, it was the through line for the episode to be like, we're starting here, and then by the end, he gets everybody pizza. So definitely, ultimately, I think reflects well on his business. But I don't think any of it was maybe either of their ideas. You know what I mean? Including the you've been served. I don't think that he like. I think they just like did that, and you went with it, and so did Will. Like, if someone was asking for your name and it's very clear that you're about to be served, like, are you going to say what's good in response to them? No, not.
But maybe he's never been served before. He might not know the protocol.
Maybe, or the stakes are just obviously not high because this actor came out with a piece of paper.
So back to villain number, I guess he's villain number 2, essentially. So Martin. So did Martin have a girlfriend or not? What did you think? You must have written down something about his response to that question. Because he said that he was dating somebody before he went on the show and he broke up with that person. So he didn't go on the show with a girlfriend and he doesn't have his cell phone or anything like that. So how could he have a girlfriend while he was on the show? Thoughts?
That's really interesting logic. I wasn't aware that if you didn't have a phone, you can't have a partner. That's cool. I guess like prior to cell phones, no one dated. I don't believe him at all. I just don't believe anything he says. So I think he probably did have a girlfriend, and they probably had an agreement that he was going to go on this. His level of investment in Michelle was never really there, anyways. He seemed to not be really listening to her at all the entire time. So I think he's just trying to draw attention to his gram and like get people to be into his personal training services. And that's that. And you sent me a thing of him like with a woman, but yes, I think that's removed now.
It was a story. So I did take a snapshot of it because I was like, ooh, it's going to disappear. So this is the image that was on his IG stories. And it says, you don't look for your soulmate. Soulmates find each other. A reminder to those searching.
So then why'd you go on a show where that's the primary purpose?
And then at the bottom it says, wouldn't want to be. I don't know what that means, but maybe it was the song.
Yeah.
And then what's with that?
Yeah, don't love it. Like, Honestly, the most off put I am by him has nothing to do with even the girlfriend thing. It's the way that he reacts when Michelle speaks to him, and we can get to that later. I'm just like,
It's like, get to
you're
it
not
now. Let's talk about
saying
him because I don't want to.
anything, and I can see you seething
So
about the
angry.
fact that you like have to like apologize, and I just don't trust that. And that's like the fifth red flag if you include the three that Romeo listed, and like whatever nonsense he's done. So no, I'm not a fan.
He's the type of guy that makes girls crazy. Not like, like the I think what he's kind of talking about, these high maintenance women that he's categorizing, is I think the women that he ends up dating react to him being this way in maybe a big way. Like, I can see him being in relationships with women that would like key his car because they're pissed. You know what I mean? Like that, like that kind of anger, and that kind of like interaction with like an F boy like Martin. I think he goes out with women that would do that. And so I think he's categorizing all Miami women, but I think it's all Miami women that you are dating have maybe sort of outlandish reactions to you being a complete asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I have friends that definitely like you wouldn't want to, get into a fight with in a relationship because like they might act a little bit like, we'll say, wild or high maintenance maybe. But I think it's because that type of guy makes people so angry. Like, if I were ever dating someone like that, well, I couldn't date someone like that, but like, I would be furious. I'd be yelling at him. Like, I would just like lose my shit. And I think women that he dates lose their shit over him being such a piece of garbage.
Yeah, it's wild. Like the common denominator amongst all those things is him. So I do wonder if maybe that's part of the issue here.
I was trying to pay her a compliment.
Oh
Well,
my god.
um,
Trying to give her a compliment? Were you? Were you? But
like
then
you're not like most girls. It's like
talk
like you
about
don't
her.
put up with my bullshit. Like, that's what not like most girls are. And most Miami girls don't put up. She doesn't put up with your garbage and doesn't like bow down to you. Like, I don't know what women you are dating, and hopefully you are treating her like a queen, like you suggested. Like, what was that supposed to qualify? Can you explain that to me?
Oh my gosh. And that was also so ridiculous. I have to say that the one, two, three of Michelle addressing Jamie to Martin to then Chris as well afterwards was just perfectly done. Like, I feel like she said everything that needed to be said in those interactions. But she basically called him out on that. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, really? You're treating her like a queen? Well, then I hope you're respecting her and not talking shit about her behind her back." You know, like, which, ugh. And also, if this is like a secret girlfriend thing and like they are doing this together, to whoever's with him, like, why?
Sorry.
Why do you want to endure that? It just doesn't seem worth it for you. And like, he's willing to prioritize going on a television show over just like dating you. Because guess what? If I was in a serious relationship, I wouldn't go on The Bachelorette. Like, what? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's not like being a lead in a movie where you have to like
No,
make out with somebody else. It's
no.
very different. Like faking being not being like faking being single in order for you to get some clout, like, or some like brand deals.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, like Martin, to me, he showed me exactly the type of person I would never want to be in a relationship with. And like, I was like, okay, I can recognize that now, like, for sure. Like, he wears, I think, glasses to make it seem as though he's actually kind of like, maybe he's more mysterious and maybe he's a little bit smarter. But it was all fake. I got duped. I
Yeah.
was hoping that he was going to be a completely different person, and he really wasn't that.
No.
He really, really wasn't that. Sam says, I'm so sorry, but Casey was so irrelevant during the season, but had so much to say. True, but like, he had a lot of confessionals. And I think that a lot of the audience, like Master Nation, stuff like that, like appreciated what he had to say. And so I didn't mind him, but I can see your point if he's kind of annoying. Saying too much. Okay, anything else about Martin for this moment? Okay, so Chris S of it all. This is before Michelle comes back and addresses them all. So Chris S felt as though everything that he said came off wrong. It talks about Olu having a low IQ. I think it was Chris that said that. It was just all. He's another. I thought he was even more so irrelevant than Casey, and he had a lot to say as well, enough to interrupt her date with Nate to be like, "You should be listening to what I have to say." But anyways, we talked about that during the episode. But he says his intentions were genuine. What do you think about the Chris S of it all? Chris Snake.
My points that I have a few points here. First one is I think it was Tayshia that once again says, "Are you sure there's not anything else you want to say? Like an apology?" To which he did not apologize and just said that his intentions were good. So LOL. Then the Rick comment was also wild. I was like, what's going on here?
So I heard what the blanks were. So yeah. Rick says that he was Chris S's roommate, and Chris S said that I've had better looking women blank my blank or something like that. So I thought it was going to be S my D, like suck my dick.
That's what
but I heard it was lick my balls.
Okay. Okay. Either way, what a turn that took.
So stupid.
But lastly, I do want to address the IQ comment because that is a really offensive thing to say. And then also to say it to Olu specifically, the undertone of that also carries a certain weight. But it did bring us to Olu, who looked fabulous, by the way. I loved his suit. Getting up to say, don't you ever in your life say I have a low IQ ever. You're looking at Black excellence right here, which had to have been one of the best moments of this entire episode. And I don't think that he was actually like going to try and fight him or anything like that. But I appreciated that he was just like, look at me in the eye and tell me what you just said. Because how dare you? Like, get out of here, Chris. That's so disrespectful to say.
Yeah.
So disrespectful.
And I don't usually like when people stand up like that, but I was definitely on Olu's side. I was like, Olu, go intimidate him, that little twerp or dweeb. But like he's such a nothing burger that like he just needs to actually take a look at like what he's actually talking about and like stay seated. Like it was a very clear that the audience is a big Olu fan, especially when you hear the audience claps in the beginning. Like Olu and Rodney were the only two people that got some good substantial claps. Will got a little bit more than I was expecting, but definitely Olu got some like whoos and like same with Rodney. So that should be a little bit of an indicator. Like I would have loved Clayton to be as one of those people. I want to hear how many claps you would have gotten from the audience.
They would have dubbed over it with like more claps.
That is true. That is very true. So Martin denying he had a girlfriend was wild. Like he really said, we can't use our phones for months as an excuse. Fix it. Jesus. Yeah, he's not bright.
No.
The only thing bright about him is his tips.
I don't have my phone.
Not watching Clayton at all. Glenda, I feel you. I think I need to be in the just knowing what's going on though. So hi, Joseph. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Joseph says, it was hard for me to care about the season knowing Clayton is a bachelor, plus Tayshia stormed off set. Okay, yeah, let's get to that. Well, yeah, we can get to that right now. So
we're almost there.
They really, really hyped this moment up, I thought. Like they're just like, she has things to say and she's saying them on the Men Tell All. And like, I was like, okay, so she's going to talk about what happened. basically what they've showed us in the preview. Like, I'd already seen what that was, and the only thing I didn't see was her storming up and walking away. Did you write down the 5 words that she said? Okay.
I did. This is what she said. I mean, all in all I have to say is that I'm heartbroken, but we really tried hard and I still love him very much. And I'm not sure what the future holds. And you know how it is, gesturing to Caitlin. It's really tough. To which then Caitlin responded. That was it. That was all she said.
That's nothing.
No.
What does that mean? You tried. We know that you tried. Every relationship, you're going to be working on it until when you break up, you stop working on it. And like, okay, you're heartbroken. Fine. Does that mean you're heartbroken because he broke up with you? Or are you just saying that because you don't want to look like a callous bitch? Like, and then why did you get up and walk away? Like, I just said, I didn't feel like she was overcome with emotion. Like, it just seemed very fake to me.
To me too. And I don't want to like take away from the fact that I'm sure she probably is sad in her own life and everything. But the segment was odd. Like, it was odd the way Caitlin grabbed her hand to say there's no ring. Like, that was such a weird moment. And then it was even worse when out of this, the transition is, well, from one broken heart to another, this man won over Bachelor Nation and Michelle with his endless energy and humor, and cut to the Rodney segment. I was like, what kind of circus are we at? Like, what's going on? It's so bizarre. Like,
that's so bizarre.
That's where you put this in the running order. That's what it was. Like, it was all so strange, and it was just not even worth teasing. Like, at the end of the day, we didn't hear really anything about the breakup. And if they want to keep that private, that's fine. But I can't help but feel like there's something being held back intentionally.
Well, or they wanted us to watch the men tell all, so they pretended like we were going to get some insider information as to what happened. And it was just all a ploy, a marketing ploy. So I don't know why I subjected myself to this, but I watched a little bit of the Vial Files, whatever. And his takes on certain things really, really make me so angry. But this one too is that he says about this particular moment that for somebody like Tayshia who wants to be in entertainment and be hosting and doing hosting gigs, he thought it was a really bad look that she wasn't able to keep her composure gained and walked off the stage. He's like, I thought it was really bad for her brand and really bad for her, like, for anybody watching that might ever want to hire her, to know that she wouldn't be professional enough to be able to regain her composure to continue to go on with the show.
I mean, what? Like, clearly the whole purpose of that segment, which was built into the running order of the episode, was to try and get some kind of emotional reaction, in which case it was very go girl, give us nothing. Like, if she like was actually like broken down sobbing, then that's one thing of losing control of your emotions as a host. But like, I don't know, her storming up and leaving is what was trying to like sell it even more to be a serious moment. Like, if anything, I think she's fulfilling her job as a host of the show by doing that segment that way. But, you know, as per usual, lukewarm perspectives from Nick.
He's so annoying. So that was like, I was watching, I was like, Nick, like, that's not what was wrong about this stupid situation. Like, it was the fact that it was phony. Like, I don't think that people are going to be judging her hosting skills on this moment that she walked off the stage, like, when you could tell that it was part of the bit. It was what she was asked to do. There's no way that she did that because she was composing herself. And even if she was, that's, I think, a better thing to do is to go and compose yourself instead of crying on stage. If that's but they're asking her specific questions. And so it's like she wasn't a host in that moment. She was actually a guest when she's responding. You know what I mean? So anyways, I thought
You're
that he had
making her friend probe for this information to try and, like, if anything, it shows me that, like, maybe Caitlin and Tayshia respect each other enough that they were like, okay, we have to do, like, they both felt like they had to do that.
Mhm.
And they were just like, okay, this is what we're gonna give. But at the end of the day, they didn't push it further. Caitlin didn't push her further. Chris Harrison most certainly would have, because you know, his questionable moral placement for him. But like, at least I think Caitlin kind of had her back a little bit to be like, hey, I'm gonna do this segment now. I'm not gonna like make you say or do more than you feel comfortable doing. Or that's how I read it. I could be.
I definitely read it was like, okay, now I have to ask her where her ring is. I definitely read it as that. I read it. The whole thing was phoned in. It was, but it wasn't done in a way that it was believable at all. And she didn't tell us anything. And I don't think it reflects at all on her abilities to be a host.
No,
she was doing what she was asked to do for the most part, just not that well, but like not hosting wise, you know? So we might touch back there, who knows? But before this was where I had my Maury Povich moment. Was Jamie backstage? I don't know if I saw a shadow box, but like he was like going up to the cameras, like Jamie's up next. I felt it was like, you know, before the paternity test, backstage, the other guy, like that was the vibe that I got from Jamie being backstage. Was that your Jerry Springer moment?
No, that was not my Jerry Springer moment, but that is very fair. Or it's like, yeah, you know, in like American Idol or like X Factor or whatever, where before they go to the commercial, it shows the person who's like next on deck, like getting ready. It was very that energy.
Yeah, or like you'd see like some people with like headphones sometimes, like.
And he's so full of it, by the way. Oh my god, like what a ridiculous person. Ugh.
So the worst. So when Jamie does come out, like Casey wants a straight answer from Jamie. Romeo wanted to be like Jamie and like is really disappointed that Jamie wasn't all the things that he said. This is when Jamie's still in the audience. When does can I write it down? Like when does Michelle join? Oh my god, so much later.
That's later.
Oh my god, we have so much to get through.
He has a segment that's like his own segment first.
Right.
Going through hot seats. So the Tayshia segment, we have already did, that happens after this, so we're good. But yeah, he comes in blowing kisses and is like, I'm doing fabulous, happy to be here with everybody. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Such a liar, such a liar. Rick does get a hot seat, so I do get some 5 points there for a Rick hot seat. This actually, Men's Tell All helped me in. I don't know if you saw, but I did tally up the points. I'm beating you by a little bit, shockingly, but you may have the winner. So I think that it's going to be a very close call here. I don't remember how much we said that we're going to give the winner, so we can decide that as well. So Rick gets a hot seat. And they roll out a serving trolley, kind of like how he came in on this the entrance video or episode. And underneath is a cake of a head that's supposed to look like his. What do you think of the craftsmanship of that cake face? Actually, it's more photogenic on your phone, to be honest.
You tell me. I think they nailed the like eyes. Because he definitely has like those like dense lashes. But this isn't like, the longer you look at it, the crazier you feel. Like like, oh my gosh.
There every once in a while I see a glimmer of him, and I think you're right. I think it's in the eyes. But the rest of it does not look like him at all. I wonder what it tasted like, because he went in and he decided to taste it, but he didn't use any utensils. He used his mouth and he took a big bite.
This hair is textured. Like,
It's impressive. I just watched The Story of Chocolate or something. I can't remember exactly what it's called on Netflix. And I feel like that's a poor showing for what you can do with pastries.
yeah,
So I was kind of unimpressed that they didn't do a better job. If it looked exactly like him, I'd have been like, oh, that's a good gag. That's impressive. But it doesn't look like him enough for me to
no,
be like impressed.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
Doesn't at all. So that's the segment. Okay, Rodney gets another hot seat, so I get some points there as well. I mean, I love Rodney, but I don't know if he needed this segment because I kind of feel like we've already kind of had talked about like what he's going through. How are you feeling, Rodney? How are you feeling being here? Are you, are you still heartbroken? Blah blah blah. Michelle's amazing. Any other points about the Rodney hot seat that you want to bring up?
Just that it ended with Caitlyn saying, "All of us hope you find love, maybe on the beaches of Mexico." So I do think that's probably where he will next appear.
And I will be very happy to see him there. Like, I think that he will be probably, if people are smart, the number one draft pick on Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
actually, he doesn't have the highest Instagram yet. Right now, I think Nate has the highest, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
From I think it was Bachelor data. So, but maybe by then, though, after this show is aired and all that stuff, like maybe by then he'll have a few 100,000. But right now, I think he's below the 100,000 mark. But that also could be because he's not a white male that looks like Clayton or Colton.
Definitely systemic reasons for sure. And also he's probably not like utilizing it. I actually haven't looked at his Instagram, but I imagine he's not trying to be influencery. Um,
Fair.
we'll see post show what happens because
What's his job again?
I we should know this because it's like there all the time, but I can't remember.
I feel it was something that was like interesting. I can't
I'll
remember
do
right now.
research.
Okay, so some special moments that we didn't see. Princess K is going to, of the Milky Way, is going to show her them butter sculptures, and they give them each a big
Yeah.
slab of butter to construct a gift or carve out a gift for Michelle. How would you be as a butter carver, and what did you think of everybody, including Olu's butter sculpture?
Honestly, this is what my face looked like when I was watching that segment.
I mean, Nate's was pretty good. Is that Princess K? The
What
carving of
is
herself?
that? Frightening.
It is frightening.
I thought Nate's narration was pretty funny
I agree.
of the segment. I don't think it's easy to carve butter, I guess. A lot of these look like, okay, so I remember what it reminded me of, honestly, is when I was in art class in high school, we had to do a sculpture. And like the big block of whatever material we were using was just like a rectangle shape. And I thought in my mind that I was going to carve it into a bunny because I was like, I just want to do a rabbit or something. And it, no matter how hard I tried to round it and make it look good, it still looked like a block, like at the end of the day. And that's what happened here. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy to do. So I wasn't surprised. I'm sure there's some deep psychological analysis that could be done on what these sculptures ended up being. But this, like, probably would have been more entertaining in the episode. Like, I can't even remember what we
It
got in
was
that episode, but this would have been
that
fun.
episode was like the feeding the goats or whatever, the churning butter. I don't
Yeah,
know. Like I feel like that segment
farm
was pretty
competition.
good. Do
Yeah,
they not want us to like Nate?
I know. It was
Because
whatever.
like Nate was good at carving and very funny at narrating.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't they show that? Not
Beats
sure.
me. Beats
Uh
me.
It's very, very confusing. Why did I write Will isn't clothed? I don't
Also,
know.
Rodney is a sales rep.
Oh, sales rep. Oh, okay. No, it's not something interesting. I don't know what that's kind of basic. Oh, okay. So they went and raided more rooms and they showed us more of the room raids because we were asking, like, how many rooms did they raid? So maybe they raided all of them.
Right.
I don't really like this segment. I don't like taking out like a black light to check and checking in people's beds and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, maybe do that beforehand to see if there's like a bit of murder there or there's like bed bugs. But like, I don't know. I just felt it was a little bit pushing the envelope, and then even saying that some people's moms wouldn't be proud of like their room because they had their jeans on the bed and like some shoes on the floor. I also didn't think that it was great, even Tasha trying on somebody's sneakers. Like, I don't know. It was an invasion in a way that I felt uncomfortable. Did you care for that segment?
No, it was kind of random, but we did get Jamari chest pressing Caitlin,
I'm
so
down with that.
that was impressive.
Very impressive. I did like that. I was like, I didn't write down his name, but then I went back to do all the points. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Jamari.
it's a deep
That's his
hole.
name. Yeah, and Spencer's room wasn't that messy, but like, they had
Yeah,
to make a moment of it. Um, Rodney makes a shot. What am I talking about there?
it's in the basketball game where he makes that lucky
Oh,
shot like behind.
that was pretty badass though.
That was great.
And he was so excited and happy about it. Why couldn't that be in the episode?
I know that was wonderful. I
Because
thought
it
that
was
was
the Joe moment. Like, I don't it's
yes,
like,
that was the Joe feature.
but like that would have been a really great moment. And it would also have helped like people understand her liking of Rodney. And you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
think it would have built his story perfectly fine. And it was like a second long. It didn't take up that much time in the 2 hours that they feed to us every week.
I know. Oh,
Rodney Streaker.
yeah.
Oh,
So
and then we saw the streaker in the damn audience. Like, obviously, that's a bit. How much do you think that the streaker was wearing? It's
I
like,
don't know. This to me is so Jerry Springer. Like, what the hell was this? And I just have to say, for someone who's being paid to be a streaker on a Bachelor Men Tell All special, the bar isn't high and it was very cringe. But even his performance of this role was half assed. Like, he was like, woo, Rodney, woo, woo.
oh, we love you, Rodney. We love
Yeah,
you, Rodney. Yeah, it was
terrible.
so ridiculous.
Oh, God. It's
Definitely.
hard out here for actors. Like, this is.
I mean, he probably got paid like as a special skills performer, so he probably made like a couple grand. It's pretty good.
You got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Gotta get to have that on your
I'm
resume.
not judging him for taking the gig. I'm judging this bit existing and why.
Well,
It,
it's also maybe he's hoping to have like a recurring, because like think about on Big Brother, the guy that plays the alien and plays like the yelling mom and like, so he comes back all the time. So maybe the streaker might be something else next time, and like maybe they'll go back to the well.
people are just trying to get paid for their craft, and I can't shit on that. You know, it's hard to live
Cannot.
in LA. It's hard to live in
I
LA.
mean, I'm sure I would probably have said yes to. I've said yes to a lot of like questionable things, so I,
You wanna
I
make a
don't behoove him for it, but it was bad,
yeah,
just
no,
as an audience person. All right, so we see the crazy, emotional, wild promo for. I keep on wanting to call him Colton, and its name is Clayton, and it's really annoying that they're the same. It sucks. I'm so broken. Blah blah blah. It's intimate with both of you. Blah blah blah. Who cares? We see Becca Kufrin's there. I was hoping that Thomas would have been there with her. But it shares that they're going. The Bachelor Live is coming back. So are we going to try to see that if it comes to Canada, Toronto?
comes here. We should see if it comes here and we go, we can definitely do a review of that.
It's so fun.
There's no way. And also, like, I personally will be buying the drinks because
Oh my god, we'll get wasted. We'll get like it'll be so fun.
it looks so out of control.
Does it have any show dates? Does it have Toronto?
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
Oh,
This
it's
is
100% have Toronto on it. If they're gonna go to Toronto for Clayton season, like
it's
it's
all US
definitely
dates from what I see.
okay. Is there any that are in like New York or like Buffalo
Yeah,
or
there's Detroit,
Vermont?
there's New York, there's I don't see Buffalo.
Should we go see it in Detroit? That's not far.
Well, could you imagine? That is the trip, the road trip to see The Bachelor live on stage. There's no way this show is worth a drive, you know?
No, there's no way. But maybe the fact that there's no way that is worth the drive, making the drive makes it worth it.
Maybe. I am curious to see how the live dance elements will factor in to this
Um,
production. But
I'll take a look and maybe we could like figure something out. I don't know if Detroit would be where I'd want to see it, to be fair. But
no,
maybe like Detroit, maybe we could become friends with like Tiffany from the Big Brother and get her to go or something like that. Like maybe like some Detroit, some Michigan, reality people. We can convince like a group of them to go, and we can make it like actually worthwhile. Hmm.
yeah.
I'm gonna start putting that in the ethers and see if we can make something fun happen. That's
It's
could be really
recommended
fun.
for ages 12 plus.
Jelly Donut, hello. The tea is ready for later tonight. Yes, Jelly Donut. I have an idea of what your tea is going to be. I saw something else today concerning the challenge, so I have an idea. But if there's even more, I'm down for it. Thank you. So Tasha got a bad season getting Claire's exes, and she still thought she found love. Also, did he realize that was all a part of the drama, her walking off the stage needed for TV? Absolutely. Like, that's what I'm saying, Glenda. He's just so, I just can't take anything that he says seriously. It just makes me so angry because his perspective is just so never what I'm thinking. I'm just like, no, I don't think, no, it's very judgmental, and like all of a sudden now he's the authority of like of relationships because he got engaged. Like I need to see him be in a relationship and get married for 10 years before I can really start taking Nick's relationship advice.
Is he
Personally,
engaged? Oh my
yes,
god.
he did get engaged. All right, so Michelle joins, and she looked gorgeous as ever, and we kind of spoke about it already, but she addressed Jamie, who will just not say I'm sorry. But I loved how she kind of came back at him and was like, when Jamie was saying to her, like, oh, like you're amazing and you're such a coach, and like I could see you complimenting my life, and we're these like inspirational people together. And she's like, actually, if you're going to be an inspirational person, you're inspirational about them or you're coaching them, you have that same kind of character when they're not in the room. And so I love that she pointed out that he's being a little bit hypocritical and two-faced in this scenario. He didn't really clarify the spring break comment and the fact that he says that he's better than the other men. Anything else from their little interaction that you want to chat about?
No, she basically just laid it out to him, and she explained what the issue was, and feeling like it's frustrating to talk to somebody who clearly hasn't learned from their behavior. And it did ultimately end in an apology, which she did ultimately
Finally.
say thank you for. But like, I think she and many people have learned enough to know that there's not much to really continue with Jamie. Like, why would she even bother? Like, she tried, he doesn't get it. He did
Doesn't get it.
apologize. We will accept, and he can
Done.
live his life. Like, good luck.
And the fact that he's like, oh, well, like, they aired something when I was venting. Like, I was just venting. I was venting. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, exactly. You were just venting. And so where you go to automatically when you're venting is actually your true colors without having the veneer of being some perfect specimen of a man and like a coach and I'm inspirational. Like, no, how you are when your emotions are really going shows your true colors. We judge a lot of people like that, like especially in the worlds of racism and all that stuff. It's like, oh, when you get mad, how you choose to attack somebody is your true colors coming out, like if you wouldn't say that when you're like kind and you're reserved and you're respectful and you have like the face that you want to put onto the world. Well, no, I want to see you when you're upset and how you hold yourself and carry yourself then, because I think it's a true indication of your character. So the fact that he's saying that he's just venting, and it's like, actually, you just venting is the proof of who you truly are, in my opinion. So.
And that it took 2.5 segments for you to reach an apology that Rodney so kindly said that you should do earlier so that everybody could move on. That it took Michelle to come out and lay everything out for you, that I still don't know that he really understood. For that apology to even arise, it's just like, okay, well, whatever.
He's definitely, I wasn't duped by him as much. Like I wasn't as charmed as him as some, like as like Romeo will say, but like he definitely was worse than I thought he was. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like I really thought he was a better person than he actually seems to be right now.
we
Unfortunately,
did. We both did. We thought his first date was great. Like we
first it
liked
was great.
what he was bringing to the table as a person and his perspective, and like things really quickly changed. And
But
I'll
we
always
were we were worried though when he was like, "Oh, well, she's gonna have to prove to me that like she's all this, and this." We're like, "Okay, that's a little bit strange to say when you're on a show dating this one particular person that she needs to prove something to you." Yes, it's a two-way street. Yes, that's what happens in dating is like you both are deciding whether or not you want to be with each other. But yeah, you kind of when you're on the Bachelorette, like I just wouldn't have said something like that. So we were cautiously optimistic, I'd say, about him.
Yeah, we were. And I don't ever want to judge a person wholly on how they're presented on reality TV, but I will just say from what we have seen on the show, I'm not a fan. From
At
what we
all.
have been presented.
Ooh, Tamika, this is a good call. Tamika, Nate is getting the Brian edit. So they're not showing the likable parts of him to make us understand why she chose him. And so that means that maybe Nate's going to take home the thing. I've been getting worried for Nate because like I feel like she has the best relationship with Nate. It's the one that I most see her being fully happy in. But like with all the doubt that keeps on coming up, I'm like, I am getting worried that she might just go to Brandon, who is a safe bet, you know?
Maybe. I think Nate's gonna be the one, but they're definitely trying to make
Put
us
doubt.
doubt him too, in terms of like his hometown visit, which managed to shift because he achieved this level of openness with his own family. And then it looks like in the previews that Michelle's mom is also potentially questioning if he's ready. But I I still think he's the best option for her.
But and like also we got duped when he last was like, it's family, and he was crying and upset. It looked like he was upset about his family and how his hometown date went, and it actually went really well, and he was crying out of joy. So maybe this mom comment, like Franken bites
Yeah.
snippets, and like maybe she really likes him or something like that, and be like, and maybe she thinks that somebody else is not ready in comparison, and you know what I mean, like so. I'm not taking everything from that preview as gospel, but they're really making me scared. I just
Yeah.
want them together. I don't think that Joe's ready. I don't know why people think that Joe is more ready than Nate. Like Joe literally says 7 words in an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate, I feel like they have a relationship already. I feel like I can see it moving forward. I can see her going to events with him. I can see her fitting into his family, even though they've never seen him with a woman before. Like, I could see her getting along with these people. With Joe's family, I can see her getting along maybe with like the sister-in-law, because like nobody else seems to talk in the family. But I feel like she would have to be on stage the whole time with Joe's family. She does get quite well though with Rodney's. So not Rodney, sorry, with Brendan's.
It'll be interesting. I think it's like a close final three. And I mean, I think probably she'll go to the fantasy suite with all three. We know at least she does with Joe, because they showed in the preview of him like shirtless in bed with her. So it is I think closer than many seasons have been in terms of what the fantasy suite like final three looks like.
Absolutely. So Sam says it's crazy how people don't like Nate. I honestly, like, Nate's my favorite at this point. I feel like he has a great connection with Michelle, and people are just coming up with anything at this point. I mean, I just think they don't want this tall, very attractive black man to be great. You know, I just think that they just like, he can't be, he has to be a terrible person. He can't be this great. I don't think he's that great, but I think that he's like a great person for the most part. Like, I don't know if he's like, I don't know, the best thing since sliced bread and like, you know, the most like number one guy in the world. But I think that he's better than all the bachelors I've seen in the last like 10 years.
Yeah. I like him. I think I understand why people like all three of them. And I think maybe that's why, like, there's people find Joe so attractive and they really want that. He does have the hometown advantage in the sense and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, we know Brandon has kind of like been this big surprise and very refreshing person. But it's like, I'm still hedging my bets on Nate. I just think that he's the best suited for her. I like him. I like what I've seen on him on the show. I haven't heard anything wild. I'm sure things will come up as they do in Bachelor Nation. Curious to hear about it. But like, I just think we talked about it last week. Like, all of the red flags don't seem like that.
They're not a red flag to me. I think that he's shown enough to me that he would be a pretty great partner.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know him that well, but from what I've been presented, I think he'd be pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe we'll eat our words, maybe we won't. But at this point, all we can do is measure in the currency that we have, which is the show.
And you know, I don't usually really eat my words. I was like, nope, don't like Colton. It's like, check, I got that right. Like, don't like Peter, check, got that right. Don't like Matt James, check, got that right. So, I mean, my radar is not bad. Same with yours. So, I think Nate's okay. I think he's a pretty good guy. So there's a couple other segments before we say sayonara here. PJ is so handsome. I loved what he had to say. He gave props to her, and talking about there's like a lot of little black girls that are going to have her to look up to. I thought it was like a nice, some words to say to Michelle, especially since he left so soon. And I would have loved to see if they had any sort of connection, but they didn't have time to get into anything. Then Martin apologizes. I'm here as a man. I apologize. But I met my soulmate. Garbage. He's so bad. Chris, I wrote down Chris's name, but I don't know what he said. I don't know if you wrote it down.
He just said that he apologizes and that he hopes that she's doing well and blah, blah, blah. And she says, thank you. And like, same to you, basically. She's just like very like, okay, yeah. And same, Chris. Like, she was just pretty respectful.
And then I don't know if it's Tasha or Caitlin that's asked, was there anyone that you sent home early that you felt you sent home early? And she says Olu, and she's talks about how she felt connected to him. They kind of bring up that date where he was able to meet her where she was at and really be a great partner in that situation. So she didn't get a chance to explore that, but she wasn't interested in him in that way, or she would have kept him around. So I don't think him staying around a week or two longer would have changed that he wasn't the guy for her. But I do like that she at least gave him a little bit more Olu props, because I love Olu. I want to see him find his love on the beach of paradise.
Yeah.
Okay, so BB wants to know if we think that JB will be on Paradise. I don't think that people like him enough.
I
Like the
mean,
audience.
they put villains on there, but I think Martin would be more likely to be on Paradise than Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie, I don't think would want to buy into that even more. Like he seems like he's like, I'm above like Bachelor Nation. So I just don't know if he would go and like do like the intro video making fun of himself. Like I just don't know if he'd be able to handle it. It's not really his thing. So Naboo says producers also made Jordan look suspicious, but JoJo trusted her gut and they're still together. That's true. But and we also knew that she was going to be with Jordan from the very beginning. So we've known that she's going to be with Nate from the very beginning. So that could be a good parallel. Thank you, Chantele. That's exactly how I feel. Oh, about Nate, probably. Yeah, like Nate's great. Like he's better than so many people. All right. So lastly, we got some bloopers. It was kind of funny when Jamie sneezed at the rose ceremony. What I like seeing about the bloopers is when it looks like the show and then something out of show character happens. So like I thought that was enjoyable to see the fourth wall being broken there. Like with Jamie sneezing, it was just so not what you expect when they're standing so serious and the music for the rose ceremony, then you gotta sneeze. Thought that was funny. Was there any other bloopers that you want to bring up?
My favorite was the bee and Brandon being scared of it, and then it lands on him, and he's just like, "What do I do? What do I do now?" I totally feel that. I never know how to react when there's a bee buzzing around me. People are like, "Don't freak out," and then I'm like, "Okay," but then if it's on me,
I'm freaking out. Have you been stung before?
No, I've never been stung before.
Oh, okay. If you'd been stung before, you'd have been freaking out more for sure.
I mean, instinctively, I freak out for sure.
It hurts. Like I remember, I think I was like 4 or 5, and we're lining up like at the daycare, and you know like how like they always like line the kids up against the fence or whatever before like you go into the classroom or into the school or whatever. And so we're lining up against the fence, and I felt something like tickling me under like on my leg. And so like I bent down and I looked under my skirt and I saw the bee underneath my skirt. I was like like this, and then the bee stung me. It hurts so much. But I remember like looking and then be so scared because there was a bee there. I was like,
I never had that. That's scary. One time I was in New Orleans and I like was walking along the water and we like sat down somewhere near to just like chill and eat a snack. And I sat like clearly on an anthill of some kind that I didn't notice for like a minute or so. And I was just like, oh, I think like I'm really itchy or whatever. And then like I looked and they were like all like literally in my pants and my shorts actually at that time. So I like got up and I was like, oh my God. And I just like tried to like get them off of me. But I felt like I had been sitting there for long enough that there were so many. So essentially I basically like had to like take off my shorts and like do this and like try and get everything off and like rub myself down, which is like I was just wearing underwear. So it wasn't exactly the best moment, but it was terrible. And some of them were like pinchy, I guess. Like it was awful situation. Oh my God. But look back on it now and laugh. It was so bad.
It's all bad. This is bad. That's bad. I'm sorry you experienced that.
So bad. The slow realization was the worst part.
No, it was like covered in bad. Like, oh my God. Sorry, it would have been very, very interesting to watch though. Not to experience.
For everyone watching, I'm sure it was hilarious.
BB says you should have just jumped into the water.
I just didn't know if I could. It was just like that probably would have been a better situation. Oh my god.
Who
I
are
was
you
just
there
trying
with? Or are you by yourself?
to no, I was there with my partner. So and then like he didn't understand what was going on initially because I was just like like literally ants in my pants. Literally.
Isn't that a name of like a book? Like Ants in Your Pants? Ants? I
Like
don't
that
know.
genuinely was what happened. It was bad.
I'm sorry. That's terrible.
It's
And then we
okay.
end it off with Peter bringing everyone pizza and Will saying it's better than the slice that he had. And Peter says, so let's be bygones. Wait, let's be gones. What did he
No,
say?
this is what he says.
Shake and be gone? No,
You wanna,
shake and bygone.
he says, "You want to bury the hat right now? Let's bury the hat. You want to let bygones?"
So not hatchet, but hat. Bury the
You want to
hat.
bury the hat right now? Let's bury
And
the hat.
and it's bygones be bygones.
You want to let
Um
bygones?
just
That's it.
want to be bygones. All right.
And he also said, "Slice appetit, everyone."
That's true. Slice appetites. That's another shirt making moment. He is just
workshopping,
like
workshopping all his lines.
people are going to be using that. I bet you. How soon? Let's do like our over and under on when do you think he's going to have merch out with those
Like this week.
sayings
This week, just in time
this
for all.
week?
Yeah.
Yeah, for like maybe after the final rose.
Like he's got to ride off of this mental all appearance. I want to find his Instagram.
Ooh, well, anything else that we didn't mention about this tell-all? We managed to talk for an hour and a half, but it's actually kind of fun because I like complaining.
I think that was everything. Oh, here he is. Peter is.
What's the name of his pizza place? Is it Peter's Pizza Place?
Peter's Pizzeria. Peter's underscore pizzeria.
It's your favorite entrepreneur here, Peter from the Bachelorette. I want to address the Bachelor Nation. I want to address everybody on my Instagram. There's been a lot that's been going on these last few days, and I'm going to be posting a story coming up soon within the next half hour or so. So if everybody stay tuned, and your feedback, your love, your support, everything that you've been giving me through this whole experience, it's always been appreciated, even more so now that the conclusion of everything's happening. So stay tuned, all right? And never forget, slice appetit.
Life Appetit. That's going to be on a shirt very soon.
Oh my god. Slice appetit. Oh, sorry. Wow.
Jelly donut. The tea's way better than, okay, Jemmy's Patreon. Okay. I think I know what it is though, but I'm still going to let you tell it. So Sophie, we're going to go live at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight for the challenge, just so you know. And lastly here, hi, Mary. So in going back to the butter challenge, I think that they didn't show it because it would go against the story of Nate not being ready for engagement. They don't want to show him in a serious light.
Sabotage.
Absolutely. They're making him not look great, even though I think he looks great. Okay, so yes, I'm not crazy. So it was a Canadian kids channel. And Ants in the Pants. I don't know, was it called exactly that, or was that a show on it? I just remember something. Anyways, it's been a pleasure doing this here with you today, Tanya. Very enjoyable. Thank you for writing down all the lines that I think that I will remember, and then I don't, and then you have it written down. So it's very appreciated. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are actually amazing. Thank you, Bean, here for Pita's Pizzeria in Florida. So if I'm heading over, I don't even know where Port Saint is in Florida. Port St. Joe.
Yeah, St. Joe, no idea.
What's the nearest like major city to that? I guess is it Miami? Is he going to start hanging out with like Martin in Miami? What's the deal? Wonder. Am I going to do the Bachelorette finale? Of course. You gotta have a full set. Good night, y'all. Enjoyed the live. Yes, and we enjoyed having everybody here as well. But if you haven't done this already, please subscribe so you can be part of the party and talking about reality TV. All right. Well, that's it. I'll see you soon. Any last words? Bye.
No. Next week. Bye.
Bye.